Are you buying software or are you signing a contract? That sounds like an odd question to ask about a CRM. It turns out to be the one that matters most. HubSpot and Zoho CRM both hold your contacts, your deals, and your pipeline. On the surface, they do the same job. What actually separates them is not a feature you can tick off a list. It's what happens 12 months after you sign up. So let me give you the answer first, because you came here for one. Pick HubSpot if you're a small team, you want to be running this week, and you want sales and marketing sitting in the same place. Pick Zoho CRM if you want to pay less and shape the software around your process. It also doesn't tie you to an annual term. That's the verdict. Now here's how I got there, because the reasoning is worth more than the answer. I should be straight with you about one thing before we start. I haven't run a sales team on either of these. What I've done is read their public pricing pages and go through what actual customers report. I'll tell you where each claim comes from as we go. Let's start with what you're actually buying. HubSpot sells you one platform. Marketing, sales, and service all read from a single contact record, and that record is the whole point. When a lead opens an email, the sales rep sees it on the same screen where they logged the call. There's also a free tier, which means you can start at zero and find out whether it fits before you spend anything. Zoho works differently. Zoho CRM is one app inside a very large suite. Desk, inventory, projects, campaigns, they're all separate products and mostly separate purchases. That difference cuts both ways. On a small business forum, one user described spending hours trying to connect data between the various Zoho apps. They also noted that the deeper work needs Zoho's own scripting language, called Deluge. If you want a CRM that just works out of the box, that's a real warning. But it's the same trait that makes Zoho powerful. You can shape it around how you actually sell, rather than changing how you sell to suit the software. HubSpot isn't free of complaints here either. On Trustpilot, recent reviewers describe it as clunky and overcomplicated, with new beta features that keep moving the interface around. That's the trade. One is opinionated and tidy, the other is flexible and messy. Now, getting it running, this is where HubSpot earns its price, and it's not close. On the CRM subreddit in April 2025, the common view favored HubSpot. People wanted a clean interface, fast onboarding, and sales and marketing pulling the same direction. Technology Advice reached the same conclusion in July 2025, calling HubSpot the best choice for smaller teams that need to deploy quickly. Zoho asks more of you up front. There's a thread on the sales subreddit titled "Zoho CRM is the worst CRM I've ever used," which sounds damning until you read the replies. The most useful one blames poor implementation and forcing years of legacy process into a tool that was never shaped for it. I think that's the honest read. Zoho punishes you for not setting it up properly. HubSpot mostly doesn't give you enough rope to set it up badly. So here's the practical test. If nobody at your company owns this project, HubSpot is the safer bet. If someone does own it, Zoho will pay you back for the effort. Which brings us to cost, and I want to be careful here. I'm not going to build this around specific numbers, because prices move and this video won't. What matters is the shape of the two pricing models. Zoho charges per user per month across 4 tiers, and the ladder is gentle. At the time of recording, their published tiers ran from roughly 14 to 52 euro per user per month on annual billing. HubSpot starts cheaper and climbs harder. At the time of recording, their starter plan was about 7 euro a month, Professional ran around 54 per seat, and Enterprise around 90. Look at that starter number, and you'd think HubSpot is the budget option. That's the part worth slowing down for. HubSpot doesn't only bill you for seats, it bills you for marketing contacts as well. Your database grows, which is the entire point of doing this, and the bill grows with it. The jump from starter to professional is roughly 8 times the price, and most teams reach for professional the moment they want real automation. This shows up in what customers report. On Reddit, there are repeated accounts of renewal quotes arriving far higher than expected. One team described facing a $35,000 renewal they hadn't planned for. Another described being automatically upgraded to a higher plan without being told, then charged inconsistently month to month. So the cheaper entry price is real, the cheaper total is not. And now the part that changed my mind about this whole comparison: getting back out. As of August 2026, HubSpot holds roughly 1.8 stars out of 5 on Trustpilot across about 1,049 reviews. The Better Business Bureau grades them D-. On SeatJabber, they sit at 1.5 stars. Those are unusually bad numbers for a company this size and this well regarded. So I went and read what the complaints actually say, because a low score on its own tells you nothing. They're almost all about the same thing. Auto-renewal is on by default. One complaint filed with the Better Business Bureau tells a specific story. A customer called on their renewal date to cancel because the price had gone up. They were told the account was already slated to renew, so they were locked in for another full year. That same customer says their account was then restricted and they couldn't remove their stored card. Across the HubSpot subreddit, going back to 2023 and running right through 2026, the advice from existing customers is remarkably consistent. Turn off auto-renew the day you sign up. Now let me be fair, because this is exactly where these comparisons usually cheat. Zoho is not spotless. 3 weeks before I recorded this, a Trustpilot reviewer described spending over 30 minutes trying to cancel a Zoho subscription. They were told to delete an extra user first. They ended up blocking Zoho at their card provider to be sure. Zoho support gets criticized regularly too, with users on their own subreddit describing being passed from person to person without resolution. So neither company makes leaving pleasant. The difference is volume and severity, and on that measure, it isn't a close call. Here's what I'd actually do with all of this. Say you're a small team who needs a CRM working this week, and sales and marketing are the same 2 people. HubSpot is genuinely the faster path, and the free tier costs you nothing to test. Go in with your eyes open. Turn off auto-renewal immediately, and know what your renewal price looks like before you sign anything longer than a month. But say you've got someone who can own the setup. If you'd rather spend that effort once than pay for it every year, Zoho CRM costs you less. It also fights you less on the way out. One CRM is easier to start, the other is easier to leave. That's the real choice, and almost nobody frames it that way when they're selling you one. If you do go with HubSpot, there's a link in the description below. So which one are you leaning towards? And is it the contract or the software that's deciding it for you? Tell me in the comments, I read them.